So thanks for that, Rachel. So Anthony Wango is an artist and educationist with 15 years experience in the sector. He teaches art to students from 3 to 18 years. Anthony has been teaching art also to less privileged children as a volunteer. This to him is a way to contribute to the community. He practices different kinds of art forms, from digital designs to handmade products. He also recently took up writing, which he finds a very interesting journey. Anthony holds an advanced diploma in arts from Evelyn Horn College of Zambia, a Bachelor of Arts in Education from Atlantic International University of Florida, and a Master of Arts in Fine Arts from University of Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. And then we have Rachel, Dr. Rachel Brown, who will be moderating today. Rachel Brown is a 30-year-old proud Jamaican woman and global citizen. She is the co-founder and executive director of Every Miko Foundation, the vice president of Global United Diaspora, and the founder of the Barcelona Black Family. Dr. Rachel is an activist, Pan-Africanist, feminist, philanthropist, youth and mental health advocate who has dedicated her life to serving her people and making necessary changes in the world. Her work has taken her to 31 countries, where she has conducted projects in the fields of environmental sustainability and awareness, women's empowerment, mental and physical health, cultural awareness, STEM, education literacy, community development, the performing arts, and sports. In 2019, she was named one of the Caribbean's 30 under 30, and in 2020, she was named one of Digital Jamaica's People to Watch. She also has served as a Global Youth Ambassador for a World at School since 2015. Just this past month, she was appointed as a delegate for the World Food Forum Team, youth branch of the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization. At the core of all of her work is her desire to fulfill the purpose and plan God has for her life and ensure that her life brings about positive change in the world. So that's Rachel and Anthony. Can we give them a round of applause?
Thank you.
Yay. Yes, so I'll use this opportunity to welcome everyone once again, and then I will hand it over to Rachel.
All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, everybody. I'm so happy to see you, happy that you're here with us, and I'm super excited to learn a bit more about Tanzania today. So before we get started, I just want you to drop in the chat where you are currently and how you're feeling. You can drop an emoji with your feeling or expression or whatever you want. But tell us where you are, if you want to tell us what you do, if you want to share your social media handles so we can follow you, you can do that too. But go ahead and do that. I'm going to look out in the chat and see who we have here. Everyone's like, which emoji should I use? Atlanta's in the building. Love it, love it, love it. With Dallas. Moesha from Jamaica, Lorez from Trinidad, big up, Askia in Boston. With Alice is feeling awesome. Tawanda's from Harare, that's awesome. Uganda, yo, from Mugambe. TT in the building. Jamaica in the building, I love that. Maryland's in the building. Barcelona, hi Sheila. Latvia, whoa, that's intense. Chicago via Nigeria, I love it. Sociologist handle Askia Hansen. Follow him, y'all, at Askia Hansen. I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it, I love it. Zimbabwe in the house. This is a vibe. All right. I love how diverse we are. I love that. That's beautiful, and that's a big part of what African Press Club is about. So welcome, everyone. You are amongst family. I hope you feel happy and comfortable and great. And we're going to get started. So I'm going to hand it over to the super accomplished and amazing Mr. Anthony Kataleva.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rachel. I'm just going to start sharing my screen and go straight into my presentation for tonight. It's in the evening here in Dar es Salaam. Yeah, so allow me to share my screen. Right, there we are. So I'm just going to start by giving you a location where Tanzania is in Africa. It's actually in the east of Africa. And right on my screen in the middle is the national flag that Tanzania uses. And that's the one I'm wearing. That's the flag of Tanzania. And Tanzania is surrounded by 8 neighboring countries, including the coast of the Indian Ocean. So we are actually, Dar es Salaam has got a lot of beaches. So please, you all come to visit us and enjoy the lovely beaches that we have in Dar es Salaam. So Dar es Salaam is actually the commercial capital city, and Dodoma is the political capital city. Tanzania is also blessed with a lot of tourist destinations that I'm going to talk about in my presentation tonight, and also some of the things that have recently happened in 10 years, something exciting 5 years ago, and things that we are yet to see. Yeah. Mama Samia. Mama in Kiswahili language or Swahili language, as some of you might say, it just means mother. So our current president right now is Mama Samia Suluhu Hassan. So Samia is her name, her first name, and Suluhu Hassan the other names. So she's our current president. She came into power after the death of, on my right here on the screen, that is President late John Pombe Magufuli. So as per constitution, the current ruling party is called CCM, which is Chama cha Mapinduzi in Kiswahili, Chama cha Mapinduzi. So their constitution states that if a president dies in office, automatically the vice president takes over. So that is what happened to Mama Samia, and then she had to reappoint her own vice president. So this is our current president, Mama Samia. Everyone say hoye to Mama Samia. Hoye means cheer up. Yeah, and
oh yes.
And yeah, before that, before John Pombe Magufuli, we had Jakaya Mrisho Kikwete. Jakaya Mrisho Kikwete, who had served a 10-year term in office, and that's what the constitution says. That's the maximum that you serve. So he was lucky he had completed his 10-year in office. Unfortunately, John Pombe Magufuli only ruled the country for 4 years, and then he passed away. And then we have Benjamin William Mkapa, who had served his 10 years in office, but unfortunately died after retirement. And then before that, we had Ali Hassan Mwinyi, who is still alive, and he just turned 95 years. He was just celebrating his birthday. He's still alive. He was the second president after the first president after independence, who was Julius Kambarage Nyerere, who is named as the Baba wa Taifa. Baba as I told you, mama means mother, and then baba means father. So he's the father of the nation because he was the first president after independence. So these are the leaders that have led Tanzania since independence, and currently we're enjoying the humble ruling of Mama Samia Suluhu Hassan. Maasais. The Maasai is a very minority tribe, but very famous all over the world and in the East Africa. But you'll be surprised to say they are not the biggest tribes in the region or in Tanzania. So we have the biggest tribes being the Sukumas from Mwanza. Mwanza is just around Lake Victoria, as I shared the map earlier before. And then we have the Chagas, who are the biggest tribes. And we have the Nyamwez as well, who are the biggest tribes. Now, I'm just going to talk about the reason why I put Maasai and the Maasai picture in my presentation. Just because they've got a very outstanding tradition. They've come to stood out and famous in the world, and basically in the tourist capitals and tourist cities, naming Arusha, Kilimanjaro, where we have the highest mountain in Africa. So most of the tourist people get to know, to research about them, and before they even come to Tanzania, they already know about the Maasai culture. They have a unique culture, which I'm going to talk about in my presentation a bit later. But Tanzania is made up of 120 ethnic tribes. Yeah, so Maasai is just one of the minority, but very well known in Tanzania and for the rest of the world. In Tanzania and in Dar es Salaam, we have people that are called Mama Ntilie. Mama Ntilie, again, Mama, as you have recorded, it's called mother. Ntilie just means put me some, like pour me some. It's usually used for food. So this strike me. So I had to talk about this because it's something that is very unique to the cities that I've lived in, but for Dar es Salaam and other cities in Tanzania, you will never go to a place and you will never go out of that city without having to go to Mama Ntilie. So Mama Ntilie are just the local restaurants that are found in every corner of the city. Whether you visit Mwanza, Dodoma, Dar es Salaam, Arusha, you definitely get to go and eat some local food from the Mama Ntilie. So we have some of the favorite foods that we have in Tanzania, the banana rice and the ugali, which is made, actually, the ugali is made from corn flour. And so the majority in the country loves eating bananas, and these bananas have got also where they originate from. Like we have the bananas that are originating from the Chaga tribe, that is around Kilimanjaro region, and we have Ndizi Bukoba, or bananas from Bukoba around Victoria, Lake Victoria there. And they're very different from the banana fruit. So as you can see in the picture, so we are able to tell from the picture that this is actually from the Chaga tribe. The bananas are from the Chaga tribe. So they are usually cooked, and they are very different from the banana that you eat as a fruit. Yeah. And here in the next picture, as you see, we have some food from the Maasai culture. They actually mix blood, cow blood, with milk, and that's their biggest, and that's the staple food that they really enjoy. And they actually recommend it to infants, and of course, even the other people can, but it's mostly their staple food. And I have a picture of the mamantilia, typical mamantilia, where rarely in the biggest cities in Tanzania, like you go to Arusha, Dodoma, Mwanza, and Dar es Salaam, rarely people from the middle and low classes, rarely do they have their breakfast from their home. They are usually rushing to go for work, waking up very early. So the first stop that they'll make to have their breakfast is from the Mama Ntilie local restaurant. So they're very famous and very kind people that serves food to the middle and the lower income people. I myself usually enjoy a lot of food from these people. Very, very, very fairly cooked and cheap and nice prepared, affordable to everyone. So they are commonly known as Mama Ntilie. So next time you visit Dar es Salaam, please don't forget to come and ask for Mama Ntilie, and then you'll be served with any kind of food that you'd love to taste from Tanzania. In the arts, I'm the arty person, so I wouldn't go without talking about the arts in Tanzania. We have the famous style that is originated from here in Tanzania. It's called the Tinga Tinga art. Tinga Tinga was the name of a person. He was called Edward Said Tinga Tinga. Yeah, so he actually was a self-taught artist. So he started doing it just for the people in Dar es Salaam, and later on started doing it commercially to the tourists that used to come to Dar es Salaam. And then they named it that style Tinga Tinga. And it got its fame when it featured in the series, the cartoon series, Tinga Tinga Tales of Africa, which actually tells a lot more about the stories of our wildlife, why the giraffe snake is that tall, why do you think maybe the hippo has that big mouth, and so all sorts of lovely stories that kids love to hear, even adults. I usually I like watching those Tinga Tinga African tales. So it got its fame after the cartoon series, and now it has been monetized to a very beautiful Tinga Tinga art. He himself, when he started, he was just basically doing maybe one animal on an art piece, but eventually people started like adding a lot of things, and then it has been more modernized. So as you can see, I have one of the pictures of a Tinga Tinga in the middle here, where you see in the background, you see Mount Kilimanjaro and giraffes. And its uniqueness is how he uses colors, that he doesn't use the original color of that particular animal. You can find a pink giraffe, you can find a white elephant, you can find all sorts of colors in his artwork. So that's how come his art is unique from all other kinds of art. And we have the Makonde scoot curvers, who are all very famous in Dar es Salaam and other big cities in Tanzania. They actually do those carvings, as you can see in my image. They originated from the south of Tanzania, just on the border of Mozambique and Tanzania, and eventually commercially came and settled in Dar es Salaam. And actually, when you come to Dar es Salaam, there's a very big place where you can find these carvers. They actually earn their living through carving. So these are very famous art styles that identifies Tanzania. You never talk about Tanzanian art if you don't talk about Makonde wood carvers and Tinga Tinga art. There are other arts that are being practiced, like realistically and all other forms of art, sculptures, but these are the outstanding ones. Tanganyika and Zanzibar. So on my slide, as you can see, I'm just trying to show where Tanzania is and Zanzibar on the coast of the Indian Ocean, and then how these two countries came to emerge and then formed Tanzania. So Tanganyika and Zanzibar in 1964 actually decided to form a union government, and that was an agreement between then the president Julius Kambarage Nyerere and Abed Amen Karume, who was the first the first president of Zanzibar then. So this is how Zanzibar has a union government. They've got their own parliament, but they've got representation in the mainland, which is Tanzania, and most of the judiciary, they have their own independent judicial system, but mostly depends on the mainland government, which is Tanzania. So they work together. And the ruling party in Zanzibar currently is CCM, and which is the same in the mainland Tanzania. So at Zanzibar, if you want to visit Tanzania, you would not go back without visiting Zanzibar. So in the picture, I'm just trying to show back then that the Julius Kambarage Nyerere and Abed Man Karume, who was the vice president of the Republic of Tanzania then, and then was automatically the chairperson and ruled Zanzibar back then. Another place that you not miss is Bagamoyo. Bagamoyo has a history of the slave trading, and as you can see in my picture, with the statues that have been built at the coast of Bagamoyo. This was in the 18th century. Before Bagamoyo, it was called Kaole, and it was then changed its name to Bagamoyo. Bagamoyo, in a local language, it just means a resting hut, a resting hut. Yeah, so it is just by the coast of the Indian Ocean where all this was happening, and so many people have settled in there, and it's one of the historical sites that you will never miss to mention when we talk about the history of Tanzania. There are so many facts that you can get from Tanzania, but I just picked on the big four. We have Tanzanite. Tanzanite is a mineral that is mined along the Maasai region here, there in Arusha, Kilimanjaro region, and it was named Tanzanite because it is only found in Tanzania. So, and as you can see in the picture, that is its color. Now that's how it looks. Recently we had one Maasai who got the biggest ever stone in the history, which weighed 15 kg. And actually, before President Magufuli died, he actually called him and himself handed over because the government had to buy that stone and handed over the check to him. And he's built a school and in his region, in Arusha, just to help the local Maasai community, because the Maasai are actually not very educated because they spend most of the time looking after their cows. So this was like a donation to his community to help out the growing Maasai boys and girls to be in school. So he has built a school out of selling Tanzanite, and they actually handed it over to the government as a private government, I mean private owned, but handed it to government schools so they can support him with the teachers and all that. And we have Lake Victoria, which is, as you can see in the picture, it has a famous rock, and actually it's in Mwanza. When you go to Mwanza, where the lake is located, it's actually called Rock City, because the first thing that you see from the Lake Victoria is that rock that is actually very outstanding. And in our currency, the Tanzanian shilling, you see that picture of the rock on the Lake Victoria. And we have the Mount Kilimanjaro. I'm sure most of you have heard about Mount Kilimanjaro, which is Africa's tallest and world's tallest freestanding mountain. The name Kilimanjaro was taken from the Swahili and the Chaga word. The region Kilimanjaro, right there in Arusha and Moshi, is surrounded by the Chaga people. So in Chaga, they took a word in Jaro, which means witness, and they got Swahili, which is Kilima. Kilima means a mountain, and then they formed Kilimanjaro. Yeah, so you could see that's how they made up the name Kilimanjaro. And as you can see on the picture there, this is how the top looks like, and that's how it looks from the side. If you're like traveling by bus, you'd actually, most of the time you struggle to see the peak, but if you are lucky, you would see the peak and you can take a picture as you travel along the bus. And another big four that I would talk about is the Lake Manyara National Park, which in Tanzania is known to have the tree climbing lions. As you can see in the picture, we have those lions that are resting and enjoying themselves along the Lake Manyara National Park. And then we have the biggest migration of animals that happens in June and July, the wildebeest, which are actually very big antelopes weighing in between 130 to 290 kg. So this migration is a must see, and most of the people love coming to watch the wildebeest migrating. Music, how many of you love music? Thumbs up if you love music. In Tanzania, we have a variety of music, but I would just love to talk about the outstanding and the famous kind of music. We have the traditional music from all the tribes, like 120 tribes, but I'm telling you, if I have to talk about all the types of music from each tribe, would require another 1 hour presentation. But I picked on the ones that are very famous, but have an origin from the local people. So we have Taarab music. Taarab actually originates from the people from the coastal regions, but had an influence from the Arabic and Indian history. Taarab has the people, some of the biggest musicians, Siti Bint Saad, that were living in Zanzibar and later on moved on to Dar es Salaam to just earn a living through playing Taarab. And later on in the presentation, I'll be able to play some Taarab for you. And then we have Singeli. Singeli is another kind of music that have the local touch. I talked about the Mamantilie as being the local restaurant that you can get the cheapest food, good food, locally made. But when you talk about Singeli, you go to the streets of Dar es Salaam, you go to the streets of Arusha, Mwanza, the local streets, you will never go in the streets and miss hearing the Singeli playing around. It's actually played on weddings, it's played on initiation ceremonies, and it's it's locally set up. People can just set up a stage around the playground or just in the corner of the streets, and everyone will be there jumping and dancing with it. So it actually brings up the local people together in a very common kind of lifestyle, and usually loved by the youngsters. And of course, the big people are currently loving it now that it has been modernized, and you can find it on YouTube and you can find it on all the other digital platforms. So people are tending to also love it. But we have another kind of famous music. It's called bongo flavor. Bongo is a street language that just means like you're in town. Yeah, like you're not in the village, you're in bongo. Like if a person comes from the village in Tanzania and comes to town, to Dar es Salaam town, then someone would say, you're in bongo. So it's like kind of, you are lucky, you've gone to town. So now, when the youngsters wanted to make their own music out of the traditional music, they wanted to identify themselves with the type of music that would be loved by the young ones, like the teenagers. So they came up with a name, and they named it bongo flavor, and which is actually not very long, basically maximum of 3 minutes, and the song is done. So this is the like the modern kind of Tanzanian music, but mostly sung by the youngsters. And we have the famous Ali Kiba, Nandi, and Diamond Platnumz, which who was recently nominated for BET Awards in America, and people are excited, looking forward to him winning. And yeah, so that's music. So bongo flavor is, if you are going to search on YouTube, search for bongo flavor, and you enjoy watching or listening to that kind of music. So a little bit more about Singeli, as you can see in the pictures. As I told you, the stage can just be set up in anywhere along the streets, and people will be dancing. And usually for women, they're usually wearing those long dresses that go up to the toes. And yeah, so as you can see in the pictures, so we'll get to hear some sounds of that a little bit later. And that's Tarab. So in the picture here, I was able to show the origin of Tarab, which was very typical, like elderly kind of music. And then later on, the youngsters went to it and modernized it a bit. These songs of Tarab are actually as long as 18 minutes playing. So if you are to listen to it and you're traveling, maybe a long distance of maybe 500 kilometers, you'd love to play some Tarab, because the songs are as long as 18 minutes, maximum up to 20 or so, 20 minutes, just one song playing. So it has been modernized, and I'll play a bit of it in the end of this presentation, just so you can hear the sounds and how it has transformed. Most of the musicians of Tarab originated from Zanzibar. So it is perceived to have originated from Zanzibar, but most of the people from the mainland and Dar es Salaam and Mwanza are still playing it. And it doesn't have a specific tribe to say, oh, this tribe are the ones that made it up, but it has some influence from Zanzibar. And most of the big artists are actually from Zanzibar. Again, remember I talked about why Maasai tend to be one of the biggest tribes in Tanzania, but not the biggest, but because of their unique traditions. So we have a dance that is called Adumu. They actually do this in initiation ceremonies, on a wedding. Actually, when a man is going to marry, if you don't dance Adumu and you don't dance it perfectly well, you cannot get married. You'll never be given a woman to go So as you can see in the pictures, they're actually jumping very high. They actually shake their head as they jump high, and that's just to show the man's strength and all that. It's actually a very big competition to watch them dance. So that's the Adumu from the Maasai tribe. So before I move on to the next slide, we have other traditional dances, but I picked on the Maasai just because of its uniqueness, but all other traditional dances in Tanzania are a bit more of the same kind of, but Maasai is a bit different because they never beat drums. Their singing is just from their mouth, and usually the women will be there clapping, and that's it. But other traditional dances, we hear drums, we hear guitars, you have all those kinds of instruments that go with that traditional dance. But for Maasai, it's just singing and clapping and dance and jumping up high. The famous Kariako market. Kariako, it's a name that came, the local people just changed it. It was called Kariakops, but the local people wouldn't pronounce it, so then they were saying Kariako, Kariako. So it's one of the biggest markets in East Africa. We have people from Uganda, Kenya, Burundi, Rwanda, Zambia, and Malawi and Mozambique coming to buy from Kariako. And just because Dar es Salaam is one of the biggest ports in the region in East and Central Africa, so most of the items that you not find in Malawi or in Mozambique, you actually find in Kariako. But for the local people that actually know how busy this market is, if you are planning to go shopping, you make sure you put on your very comfy shoes, because you are going to spend the whole day there. You cannot go there and say, I'm just going to go to one shop and come back. It's very congested. It has all the things that you need. So you just need to go to know where to go. If you're going to go to 2 shops, that's fine, but you're not going to spend 30 minutes and come back. So actually, most of the people say, oh, tomorrow I'm going to Kariako. Then you know they're going to spend the whole day there. Yeah, so that's one of the biggest markets in East Africa. And then finally, Swahili or Kiswahili is the major language, official language in Tanzania. English is taught or is used in some private schools and international schools, but the local the language that is used as a medium of instruction in government schools from early childhood to standard 7, which is the primary level, is Kiswahili. And if you go to secondary schools and university, then they can teach you in English. But if they have like conferences, all of the dialogues, it's done in Kiswahili because it's the official language. It was derived from the lingua. It's actually a lingua franca. It was taken from the Arabic side. So most of the words in Arabic tend to sound like if you're speaking Kiswahili, some of the words like this is also the same way you speak it in Arabic. Yes. So so that's it from me about Tanzania. I hope you enjoyed my presentation, and I'm just going to play you some music of old Tarab, and then I'm just going to play a bit of modern Tarab. Each song is 18 minutes, so I'm not going to play the entire song. I'm only going to just give you a glimpse of what it is. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you so much,
Rachel,
Anthony.
do you allow me to do that?
Of course. I was worried because you said you were going to play a song and I said 18 minutes. Go ahead. Thank you so much. That was amazing.
Are you able to see my screen? Okay, so that was the old Tarab music by then. And now let's see how it has changed to modern Tarab. Okay, so the music that I just played, most of the messages that are done in those songs would be to educate the community, but sometimes they use that music to like send a message to a person. Maybe someone wronged you the other day, so the musician will go into studio and create some message that indirectly will be talking about your behavior. And then, so that's why you see them doing like this. So actually like trying to say, I'm sending you that message, it belongs to you. So mostly loved by the coastal region people, because typically you find there are such issues in the African setup where things are not going on well and they want to deliver some message across there. Yeah, so yeah, that was Tarab, and yeah, thanks.
Awesome. The original diss track. I love that. That's a vibe. Hello to all the beautiful people who have joined us. Goodbye to all the people who left us. Hi, sis. Julie is on the call. Every Mickle is in the house. Good is in the house. I love that. I just want everyone to do the clap reaction for Mr. Anthony, because after that presentation, actually, Tanzania should pay you, because the tourism is definitely going to go up after this, after COVID. That was amazing. Thank you so much for that. All right. So we're going to go into the question and answer segment, okay? It isn't often that you have an authentic, original, #1, super experienced, educated Tanzanian man ready to answer any question you have about the country and the culture of Tanzania. So I want you to think about some questions right now, get those juices flowing. I saw some questions already, Anthony, so I'm going to ask you them, okay? The first question that I saw is red a wedding color?
No, it's not. Maybe if you saw it in one of the music pieces, maybe it was just a musician choice, but it's not. It's not.
All right. Awesome. The next question I'm seeing is the names of the musicians. What were the names of the musicians, Anthony? He's like, I don't know.
The names of, there are quite a lot that are doing modern Tarab. We have Mzee Yusufu. Mzee Yusuf. So you can go to YouTube. You can search for Mzee Yusufu. We have Aisha Ramadan. There are quite a lot. The moment you just search on Tarab, it will be a long list of those that are playing Tarab. So you'll be able to enjoy quite a lot.
Anthony, I think you're gonna have to drop those names in the chat because the spelling it was kind of intense. Sure. All right, here's the next question. Anthony mentioned a group or type of music we can look up on YouTube. What was it again, please? He said Tarab. Tarab. Are there any other types of music they should be looking up?
Yeah, bongo flavor, which is the 3 minutes long kind of music, which is a modern, teenager kind of music, bongo flavor.
Awesome, awesome. All right, so I see the questions are pouring in. Just want to encourage you all to go on your social media handles, okay, really quickly. And Connie Fierce, maybe you can drop these in the chat. Please, please, please follow the African Press Club on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at African Press Club, okay? Also follow Global United Diaspora at Global U Diaspora on Instagram, and Every Mickle Foundation at Every Mickle JA. So Every Mickle is all about youth, okay? So I want to give the youth a chance to come in and help with the moderation because, you know, they're the future. So I'm going to introduce Jada Brownie, who's like my little sister. She's part of Every Mickle, top girl in Every Mickle. She's going to be helping with the moderation. So Jada, jump in. Questions are in the chat. You got it.
Yes. Hi, everyone. I'm Jada. As Rachel introduced, I am basically the head of events on the Every Mickle Foundation, and I'm really excited to be here today. All right. So we're dealing with questions at this point, right? So I'm going through the chat to see what was asked. All right. So Anthony, they asked for the list of the musicians, so remember to type that up and give them. That's very resourceful. That's what they need. They want to know. Okay, so does it mean that you share the Maasai with Kenya? Did I pronounce that correctly?
Yeah, I was meant to talk about the Maasai of Tanzania, but yes, in Kenya, we have also the Maasai.
All right, there we go. All right, so we have some people bigging up the music that you presented to them. It seems that the music was very well liked. I was vibing with the music here. I enjoyed it a lot. It was very nice. Okay, Sheila asked, what are the ancient traditions and how have they evolved?
Oh, like I said, we have 120 ethnic tribes. So to talk about each one of it would take another presentation, but I'm happy if next time we can arrange to talk about a particular tradition and I'll be able to share a lot about each tribe. Yeah.
Could I ask you a question, Anthony, based on your personal experience? What's your favorite tradition that you have come to love?
I love the tradition of weddings where they actually have a kind of a mean wedding for a lady. They actually call it send-off party. I don't know. They have not found an indigenous word to give it, but they call them send-off party, where before getting married, a lady is given a mean party where most of the families from the ladies' side contribute some money towards that event, and actually most of them buy like things that you're going to need to use when you start up your own family. So for me, that stands out to be a good tradition. And also for the wedding, as a man, if I'm marrying today, I will not be thinking about where am I going to get the money for the party. Actually, people contributes for me towards my wedding. So that's something that stands out in the Tanzanian culture, where people come in, help you marry by contributing for you. And they are usually very big weddings that socially for me, it's something that I give the credit.
And I know that with COVID, weddings have calmed down a bit, so that sucks. But I do know that's great to have that celebratory spirit, the family coming together to put some two unions, like basically support the union of the marriage. So that's great. All right, New Deal, I see you have your hand raised. New Deal, are you there? Do you have a question? No hand raising?
Yeah, I
All right.
have a
Oh,
question.
okay, perfect. All right, go ahead.
My name is Ayub Mzee, and I do associate with Antony Katarieba because I also come from Tanzania, even though I live in London as a journalist. And I've been the African Journalist of the Year and the Commonwealth Journalist of the Year in the UK for 4 years. And I want to say shikamoo mzee.
Maraba.
Okay,
Mambo, sistahili shikamo. I'm still very young.
Okay, thanks. I just want to appreciate your presentation. It's very representative. And I wanted to share with the audience here that during my course of my duty, I did receive quite a lot of emails from some African, I think it's from you. That was like 5, 6, 7 years ago, if it was you, but I could get a lot of like press releases from Africa with that kind of name. So I'm quite happy to be part of this audience today. And I wanted to say, for those who are in the UK, if you are on this platform, I've got a very big collection of Tanzanian culture, Tanzania this, Tanzania that, Tanzania music. I'm quite happy for you to come to my office and share my library and help yourself if there's anything interesting. Lots of information on tourism. But what I wanted to say is that I'm quite happy for us to take this African writer series that platform we are here on very far, because it sounds interesting. I don't know you guys who are on the board there, how far you have gone, because this will be like my first time, other than the emails I received, to hear from you again. If it was you, it was somebody else. On the last note, I just wanted to say, welcome to Tanzania, the land of Ngorongoro, the land of Serengeti, the land of Kilimanjaro, and the land of Zanzibar. If you have any question, that New Deal Africa is the organization I lead, and my email address is newdealafrica@yahoo.co.uk. So if you Google my name, Ayub Mzee, I'll write it there in the chat box. You can Google my name and you'll see my YouTube channels and everything else, and my Facebook and stuff. I'm quite happy to share anything that can be helpful to somebody out there. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much for sharing with us and making that link.
Shukran.
All right, great. So we got another question in the chat. This is about when to visit. When is the best time to visit? It seems like based on your presentation, everybody wants to go there. So tell us more, like what do you recommend we do when we get there? When's the best time of year to come? Give us all the information that we need so we can arrange our trip.
Oh yeah, I would recommend the best time to visit throughout the year, so that you can see all the lovely things that happen throughout the year. And one thing that I did not mention when I was talking about food, because lack of time, is that we have fruits throughout the year. Any fruit that you'll not starve when you come to Tanzania. Every season we have a fruit that freshly in season. So that's something that's outstanding and for Tanzania. Yeah. So I would say throughout the year, please.
So you're giving us an open visit anytime you feel like. Just come down and eat the food.
There's always something exciting happening every day, every year, every month.
Nice. And then we have someone agreeing anytime is best. And there was some rain, but it was still good. Great. Okay, somebody's asking about movies. And they have seen a lot of the movies.
Oh yeah, I mentioned about bongo flavor as for the songs, but we have also bongo movies. These are locally produced, and right now they are making a lot of collaborations with other people outside Tanzania to just professionally do African Tanzanian stories, but professionally done. You know what I mean, professionally done. We have the Mouth Choice coming in to support the local artists. And recently at the university where I graduated from my master's, I had people graduating in those fields, which for me is a very good thing that we have the self-talented actors, and we also people that have been to school and to actually help in the film industry. So they are called bongo movies. So if you had to search them on YouTube or other platforms, just say bongo movies, then you can get them.
All right, so I hope everyone's taking notes. So bongo movies, and they're asking for a list of movies that you'd recommend. So I don't know if you can type that up, Anthony, for them. All right, Terry is recommending that we go to the island of Pemba. Is that off the coast?
Yeah, off the coast. Yeah.
So that's a recommendation. Somebody's asking, what's the relationship between Kenya and Tanzania? What's the link, the connection between the two? What's the relationship like?
Yeah, we all use Kiswahili, but their Kiswahili is a bit different, slightly different, but we can communicate. We are in the same East African region, East African community, and there's a lot of trading happening between Tanzania and Kenya. Yeah, we share a lot, and of course, the tourists, some arrive in Kenya and then come to visit the tourist destinations in Tanzania. And some would be living in Tanzania and go to visit Kenya. So they are our neighboring country, but we speak Kiswahili. So that's the common thing that we have.
Thanks, Anthony, for sharing that with us. And I hope the questions are being answered. All right, it seems like there's no more questions in the chat. Do we have any more we want to share right now? Any more questions?
Yeah, what I wanted, moderator, do you allow me to say a word?
Oh, yes, go ahead.
I just wanted to supplement on what my brother Anthony has just presented very well. But the question was, what is the relationship between Tanzania and Kenya? You should know that Tanzania is surrounded, is the only country that is surrounded by many countries in Africa. So what I wanted to concentrate on is Kenya. We share the language, which is Swahili. We share the tribes, we share the language, we share the culture. For example, we have got the Maasai in Tanzania, we have the Maasai in Kenya, and we have other tribes that share the same dialect in Tanzania. I think it's the colonial amalgamation of Africa, scramble for Africa, that separated and said, this is now Kenya, and this is now Tanzania. But there are quite a lot of things. The terrain, you have heard about the movement of the beasts from the parks. Every year they migrate from the Tanzanian side, they go to Kenya, and then they migrate back to Kenya. It's quite an awesome sight for tourists. When you get, I think it happens around August time, if I'm not mistaken. So there's quite a lot, and I could say, if I'm not mistaken, part of Tanzania, Mount Kilimanjaro is also in Kenya. So there is quite a lot of things. We share the coast, the East African coast, that is the Indian Ocean. Or you can just get on a boat from Mombasa in Kenya to Dar es Salaam in Tanzania. Then you go on by boat to Zanzibar or to Pemba. Zanzibar and Pemba, they are islands. So I just wanted to chip in that. Sorry about that. If my brother, I hope you won't mind.
No, not really. Thank you so much for your additions.
No, thank you.
Yes, thank you. All right, so somebody was asking about COVID, the pandemic. How is the country handling it? How's it going for you guys over there?
Oh yeah, something unique that has happened in Tanzania is that when COVID thing came, the statistics were being shown or being revealed to the public as to how many people were infected, how many people were dying, and also that. And then later on, the late president stopped it, and people just started like washing their hands and maybe wearing masks in public, but it was not mandatory. It was not from the government to impose on people following all those precautions, apart from washing their hands. And this was very well done by the public, well received. Like when you go to even a mini shop, you will not buy anything if you do not wash the hands. Every person had a bucket of water, running water, and soap to wash your hands with. And later on, the schools were reopened, and the primary schools and the universities were reopened, and life was as usual, and people moved on. So from my point of view, I don't have statistics on how many people have died and how many people were affected by COVID, but I must say there's less impact just because people did not go on lockdown.
That's crazy to imagine that you guys didn't have a lockdown at all. Because even like when I went back home to Jamaica, like the lockdown was serious and I couldn't leave my house for weeks. So it's good that y'all had it under control. And it's like relatively, well, it sounds like it's relatively decent. So that's good. All right, we got a question about the fight against IDD, Amin Dada, in Uganda in 1979. They're asking if you have any history about it.
Can you come again with that? Can you say that again? Sorry.
Yes. Somebody was asking about the fight against IDD and Amin Dada in Uganda.
Idi Amin.
Oh, Idi. Yes. My bad.
I'm sorry, I did not. Maybe the fact that I did not read a lot about what happened then, because I did not study from here. I don't know, I was lucky my parents sent me to another country, Zambia, to go and study. So I didn't follow up a lot about the history about Idi Amin. So I wouldn't be comfortable to give that information.
I'm quite happy to shed some light on that. If the admin allows me. Okay, thank you, admin, and thank you, Brother Anthony. Like Ayub from Tanzania, I understand why Brother Anthony is pulling out of this, because it's a very, very sensitive question, just like the COVID question. Idi Amin was the president of Uganda, and we had Nyerere in Tanzania, and we had the East African community, which involved Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, all those East African states. There were differences in understanding each other. There were religious issues, but the bottom line, officially, it is a colonial sin, a generation sin, because there is a region called Kagera in Tanzania. That is, it's a land between Uganda and Tanzania. Before the colonialists came, it belonged to Uganda, because even people in Kagera speak Ugandan language. So after the scrap of Africa, the Berlin Conference, then it was given to Tanzania. Then because of differences between Nyerere, the president of Tanzania, and Idi Amin, the president of Uganda, they had ideological issues. Nyerere was a Catholic, head of the Catholic Church, and Idi Amin was a Muslim fanatic. They could not come together. So at the end of the day, there was those issues that you are reading about, like Iraq and Iran and Islamic fundamentalism, because Idi Amin took a stance of supporting the Arabs and Yasser Arafat, and made PLO, or the Palestinians, headquarters in Uganda, and kicked out the Israelites. Then the campaign started that Idi Amin is this, Idi Amin that. There was bad blood. The next thing that happened, there was war between the two people, and Idi Amin lost the war. And the whole world fought with Tanzania because the whole world, like it was like collision forces, they came to help Tanzania kick out this guy. So there's a narrative that was a religious issue because he was the only Muslim president who has stood up to the Israelites in Africa south of the Sahara, other than Nigeria. Then
wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that answer and for the context and the history. Unfortunately, we're running a little bit tight on time and we really want to get to 2 last questions. So I'll let you wrap in about 10 seconds if you can with the rest of your response.
Are you talking to me?
Yes, Mr. New Deal.
My name is Ayub Mzee. New Deal is my company.
All right, Mr. Ayub, do you have anything else to add or is that okay?
I wanted to say that what followed was bloodbath. That during the war or after the war, every Muslim that was found in Uganda was killed or slaughtered. So it became a religious war, Christians against Muslims. So I just wanted to wrap up on that. But at the end of the tunnel, at the end of the tunnel, there is light again. There is good blood between Tanzania and Uganda. But we, as Tanzanians who were around, I was around by that time, we believe that it was a lost cause. People lost their lives for nothing, and that the economy of the country went downhill. So it should not have happened. But now there's good blood. I rest my case.
Thank you so much. Case rested. We really appreciate the knowledge and the insight. So we're going to be taking 2 more questions. I know tons of questions are pouring in, but I'm going to let Jada Girl field those last 2.
All right, thanks, Rach. Okay, so someone is asking, she was asking, how is the government promoting arts? So I'm assuming that means performing arts or arts generally. Yes.
Yeah. I myself being in the arts, so there's a lot of government input. Recently, they just made a proposal to the parliament to increase on the budget that is allocated to the arts and culture. So the government is promoting it a lot and trying to regulate to make some formal kind of mostly in the past, people have been doing a lot of things and they don't see benefits. They are not paid for, or they just end up doing it in the streets and they're not recognized. So the government, through the Ministry of Arts and Culture, is doing their best to promote. And also at the universities, there's been an introduction of courses professionally, like in the film and television, in the theater and the arts, and the University of Dar es Salaam right now, you can get a PhD in the arts and culture. You can do film, you can do television, you can do theater, you can do music. And yeah, so they're extending to add on to other universities that do not offer that at the professional level. And the local artists, we like the Tinga Tinga, we have a big market that has been recognized and being promoted by the government. Even in government functions, you'll find if they're giving a gift to maybe a visiting president, definitely they will visit Tinga Tinga market and give that as a reward. So they are actually doing a lot of promotion on the arts and culture. Yeah.
Brother
really
Anthony,
good to hear.
Brother Anthony, question from you. This will help me understand the situation. Because
yes, please.
Arts is a very wide subject. Having also lived abroad for a while and used to going to theaters, I looked around in Tanzania, could not see a theater where you have got like performing arts. So do I call it performing arts? A proper theater. I could not see one. There was only Nyumba ya Sanaa somewhere in Dar es Salaam, and it was like for showcasing things like you are doing other than performing arts.
Yeah, there's a lot of private support that is coming in collaboration with the government. There's a little theater, which is allocated in Dar es Salaam. In Arusha, I'm not sure what it is called, but there is a place where you go for such things. And like I said, the minister who's, if you're aware about Bashungwa, is actually making a very big transformation with the help of the film board to support, and the Basata, which is the Council for Arts. They're trying to go through all the constitutions that have been in another way suppressing the arts in the country, and trying to maybe revamp some and make some changes. So for me, from my perspective, I've seen a lot of transformation in the past 2 years.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, so I saw Tawanda with her hand up. I don't know if you still want to ask a question.
I'd actually asked it in the chat earlier, but I wanted to find out, we're talking about arts, about the Sauti za Busara festival that happens in Zanzibar. I think it's every February. You're speaking about arts. That's the one thing that I know about from Zimbabwe, is that there's this festival that happens. Maybe you can tell us more about that in terms of government initiatives to support the arts, because it's a very famous festival.
Yeah,
and
it
also,
is.
Anthony, to add to that question as well. Oh, sorry. Yes, Anthony, I was saying in your answer as well, sure, could you include some local restaurants you recommend and hotels? So you can talk about the festival in addition to recommending like places to eat.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Sauti za Busara, it's a very big festival that includes mostly traditional music, traditional African kind of music, and the invitations are sent throughout the world. People that are singing African, with African tunes, but unfortunately this year it never happened because of COVID. So yeah, it is a festival that you look forward to attend. I personally love it when I do attend. So it doesn't just involve people that are doing music or arts. It also includes the people that are doing film, and yeah.
Can I add on something?
So,
I'm sorry, Mr. I forgot your name already. Mr. New Deal, we don't have time for additions. How many more questions can we take, more or less?
Can I answer the restaurant question?
Yes, of course.
Of course. So just checking on the time for you.
There are a variety of hotels and restaurants. They affordable, cheap food, but I wouldn't say exactly how much one would cost. But a dollar rate in Dar es Salaam, as per yesterday I checked, it is $1 against 2,310 shillings. So, so if someone tells you per night a hotel is $100, then you just multiply that by 2,310 shillings.
All right, and Anthony, another follow-up question to that is, there's typical tourist stuff that you do when you go to countries, but we want to know what you can do that's unique. Give us like a unique experience. So somebody asks, what are unique products that tourists might want to purchase? So do you have any recommendations in that regard?
Yeah, there's a lot of art pieces that you get from local artists. As you can see in my background, I have some that I made just to show you, but there's a lot of it. We have the tinga, we have the locally made bracelets, the necklaces that are either shaped in a Tanzanian map or colored in Tanzanian flag, colors, or anything African. You find the Maasai culture as well. You have a lot of unique dress, Maasai shukas, and of course, I'm planning to visit the national parks. We have the big national parks, especially in Arusha and Kilimanjaro. Yes, there are a lot of things that it's a lot of things that you could come and see. Zanzibar, a lot of tourists vicinities to go and visit. Yeah, but with arts, there's a lot of things that you carry with. A lot of art pieces that are made on either canvas or made on on different medias that you get to as souvenirs when you come to Tanzania.
Amazing.
Yes.
All right.
There's one more question, Rach, which is just the final question that we have. I'm going to take.
All right.
So Julie was asking about any book recommendations on the history and culture. So any books you could recommend for her to read up on, get some info, and also if you feel comfortable, if you want to share like your Instagram or your Facebook, so people can reach out to you additionally to find out more information, if you feel comfortable with that. So yeah.
Oh yes, recommending a book, you caught me napping. My research skills there are not good to recommend a specific book to read on. Maybe New Deal Africa would maybe put us in the chat there, or later on I would share through different platforms. But for me, I'll share my Instagram, because I also do a lot of digital designs, but African kind of work. Recently ventured into doing some stippling art.
Wow.
Yeah, just to give it a bit of a rest from paint. So there's a lot of things that I'm doing at the moment with art. So I'll share my Instagram account in the chat, and so people can see what I'm doing. And currently, like it told us from the introduction, I'm running art classes with the less privileged community on Saturdays when I'm off work, because art, as you know, has not been given a lot of emphasis in the elementary school in Tanzania. So in a small capacity, in trying to fill that gap, just with a few orphanage centers that are very accessible from where I live. Yeah, so that's something that I'm currently doing for the community.
That's amazing. Don't forget to share your handle in the chat. Maybe do it right now. I'm going to jump back in. Jada, girl, you did an amazing job. Can you guys have a round of applause for Jada? The future is clearly in good hands. I want to see all the claps. Yes, you know she killed it. And also a huge, huge, huge round of applause for Anthony, who was super informative today and made us all want to go to Tanzania. Anthony, I hope you have enough space in your house for all of us. And then lastly, he's like, yeah, definitely. So guys, we're planning a trip to Tanzania. I want to also remind you once again to follow the African Press Club on all social media handles, and also Global United Diaspora at Global U Diaspora on Instagram, and the Every Mickle Foundation at Every Mickle JA. Thank you guys for being so interactive, amazing guests today. Thank you for learning with us. I'm going to hand it right back over to the one and only, the amazing Ikoku.
Hello. Thank you so much, Rachel and Jada, for a wonderful job. And thanks again, everyone, for attending today's event. Thank you very much, Anthony. I have learned a lot today. Africa has 54 countries and 1.3 billion people. But most times we don't travel within our continent. It's actually easier to run off to Europe via British Airways or Lufthansa, or what's the German one? The German airlines. It's Lufthansa and KLM. So part of the reasons why we're doing this is so that we learn about our continent, and so that we can also begin to travel within the continent. We have the African Continental Free Trade Agreement that has been signed. Hopefully that will facilitate movement. And most countries now are not requiring visa. So for instance, in ECOWAS community, we have a common protocol where you don't have to require a visa to travel. And then the East African community has that, Southern Africa. Hopefully, eventually, we won't need visas to travel within our continent. So thank you very much. I learned a lot. The pictures were beautiful. The mountain, Kilimanjaro, the Lake Victoria. And I'm wondering, before we go, Anthony, has anybody in Tanzania protested concerning the name Lake Victoria? What was the original name of that lake? Because I know it's not Lake Victoria. Maybe the British named it Lake Victoria. Don't you guys want to change the name to original, whatever it was? And then secondly, okay, go ahead.
I will have to go to the Minister of Culture and make a proposal towards that. I'll be the first one to protest, but no one has ever protested.
You should definitely do that. Then secondly, Dar es Salaam, the name Dar es Salaam, which is the capital of Tanzania. I've always found that name poetic. When I was in university, I had this crazy professor that was a Marxist, and they used to go to Dar es Salaam a lot for conferences. And I was so thrilled. He used to mention one of the academic scholar, Professor Ali Mazrui. Professor Ali Mazrui was a renowned scholar in Africa, and he was also a prolific writer. You know, so whenever I hear Dar es Salaam, Arusha, Zanzibar, you know, it sounds so like sleepy and wonderful. So what's the meaning of Dar es Salaam? Does it have a meaning? Is that from a Kiswahili language? Quickly.
Yeah. So Dar es Salaam in the 1800s, it was actually a small village with a port that when people brought in things from Europe, they could that's the smallest port they could be there maybe for some time and rest. But the place was very peaceful. It was called in Nzizima as a village, which is a Kiswahili word. And then later on, the Sultan of Zanzibar gave it Dar es Salaam, which just means a place of peace in Arabic.
Wow.
So it was very peaceful, and so they enjoyed coming to rest to this small village in Nzizima. So that's how come Dar es Salaam.
Wow, thank you so much. A place of peace. Wow, that's great. Awesome. Thanks for that information. I'll carry that, you know, for a long time. There are a few announcements before we leave. We're planning to start a book club. So if you would like to be part of a book club, or if you would like to see a book club, can you put one in the chat? If it's something you're interested in, put one in the chat. And then if you're a book lover and you would love to volunteer to lead, you know, to be one of the leaders of the book club, can you also just put 2 in the chat? And then you can also send us an email at info@africanpressclub.com. info@africanpressclub.com. Of course, also follow our social media handles, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook at africanpressclub.com. And then I want to say thank you to all our partners today, the Everett Miko Foundation, the Global United Diaspora. I want to say thank you to the TAPC team, Jean-Claude Andre, Nathalie Odile, Sheila Garcia, Newman Gompil. And I also want to thank everybody that has written stories for the African Press Club in our June newsletter. You probably saw some stories. There were contributors such as Philip Webaze, Hussein Kiganda, Nyerezi Jekayinka, Madili Okumabwa, Richard Mugambe, Nakiwala Sharifa, Nalubuama Bayan, and a host of other people. Thank you so much. And if you want to be a contributor, also send us an email at info@africanpressclub.com. Yes, so with that, we have come to the end of today's program. Our next event is on June 26th. So if you would like to be updated, just drop your email in the chat box, and then we'll add you to our emailing list so that you know whenever we have new events. We're going to be loaded till the end of the year. Lots coming your way. Thank you very much, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful evening and a lovely weekend, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Take care now, everyone. So bye, everyone. Bye.
Asante sana, asante sana.
Bye, thank you.
Karibu sana.
Iko